We want to say to Captain Ibrahim Traore that we stand with him and support his vision for the Sahel region and the whole of African continent, including the expulsion of French colonialism. We say to our brother Duma Boko in Botswana that will heed his call for the unity behind the rallying cry for our land and minerals to return.
Excellency, there was a question on the inclusion of the countries of the Sahel.
Yes, the issue of reintegration of the Sahel countries in the African Union, President Dashimie has already tackled and handled it. The biggest problem that we have in that region is the proliferation of terrorist groups, traffickers, and all kinds of secessionist rebellions. And this region has become a source of concern when it comes to the neighboring countries too. So it's very important also to understand that we need to continue to engage with them. When I assumed office, I immediately appointed a special envoy, and my special envoy has been meeting recently with the leaders of those countries. And I also requested a visit to those capitals so that I can also start a direct dialogue with the leaders of that region. I think the Sahel countries need the support of the whole African Union, and I know that there is an initiative now that more than the neighboring countries, 18 countries of that region are seriously thinking of creating a platform, a common platform, on how best they can handle these security issues together and not leave it to the 3 Sahel countries. I think this initiative will certainly be of critical importance in the coming weeks and months. Thank you. The question around the lack of efficiency of the African Union to resolve crises and conflicts, and the lack of initiatives that create a sense of failure. And this could have an impactful effect on the development of trade on the continent, and in particular through our common framework, which is EFCFTA. Let me say that it's not the lack of initiatives that create that sense. Even an hour ago, I was in a C5 meeting, presided over by His Excellency President Ramaphosa on the Republic of South Sudan, and so many leaders, presidents were present. And I think that there are so many mechanisms that we try to use and utilize in order to bring peace and stability in some of our regions where we have conflicts and unstable situations. You are right when you say that one of the non-tariff barriers that we always refer to and mention is the lack of security in the border areas. If you don't have, 100% security in border areas, it's very difficult for goods to cross the border from a country to another. This is a real challenge. And then, of course, the unconstitutional change of governments create also more tension, not only inside the country, but also it might have a spillover effect on neighboring countries. But Silencing the Guns is really a flagship program in this Agenda 2063, and we are putting all our efforts, resources, and all the mechanisms necessary so that we can bring a difference on the ground. Monsieur le Président.
And before the AU chairman came to address this, it was a pressure from other leaders who truly believe that Sahel is doing great. Sahel leaders are doing great. And they're not only doing this for their own interests, but for the entire continent of Africa. Because what Sahel is doing today is just an example of what the governance should be, of what Africa needs. They're not doing this because they love power. They're not doing this because of their greediness. But they're doing this just to awaken Africans, to tell African youths that we can do this. We can do this because if we keep on relying on other people that they will come to help us, then we'll always live speaking about this, hoping about this, dreaming about it, but we cannot get it. So it's the responsibility of each and every African youth to make sure that we fight for this and we take our destinies in our hands, because no one else will come to fight for your destiny. No one will come to fight for your future. It's time for you to stand up, to fight, to reclaim your destiny. And by doing this, you will get the Africa that you want. You will get the Africa that deserves you and the one that you deserve. So before Mahmoud came to address these issues, showing some interest that he's in much concern about Sahel and what's happening there, and they need to make a team that will go for the dialogue that will at least bring these leaders together and maybe bring them back to African Union, because this was started to be initiated by Botswana President Duma Boko, and there are some leaders who skipped this summit, like Rwandan President Paul Kagame never attended this. He joined Traore, Burkina Faso leader, Mali and Niger's leaders, because they never attended this, because they are not part of it. They are not part of it because what is being discussed in African Union is not what is going together with what Sahel are discussing. They've been always there. When you see all these independent leaders who are outside all these institutions, whatever they are discussing or they are thinking of is outside what African Union is thinking of. African Union has been there for the longest time. They have been always holding all these summits, but they have never came out with any conclusion of what or of how to save the continent from oppression, from exploitation, from foreign influence, from all this that is affecting the African people. So when you see people who are outside, they're the people who have some very different agenda from what African Union is having. And now, I don't think if it will be just easy as how Mahmoud is trying to say that they are working on it to make sure that Sahel return to African Union. And the African leaders are the one, some of the African leaders are the one who are pushing for this, that Sahel should be returned back to ECOWAS, because these are part of them. They're the part of them. These are African leaders. No matter what side they're lying, no matter which title they're holding, they're military leaders. They're undemocratic leaders, we know. But they're African leaders because they're representing millions of Africans, not only back to their countries, but across Africa, people are believing in these leaders. So whatever they are doing is something that is giving hope and the direction to many of African youths mostly. Because today when you take a look of the pressure that's coming out, the force, and this like a new form of, it is all coming out because we have seen some people doing it and working out. We have seen youths of Africa taking over their countries as the leaders and transforming their countries from the previous, making their countries to deliver, making the Africans or the people from their countries at least to feel comfort and to see peace in their life. We don't say that in Burkina Faso or in Sahel regions, all these alliances, that things are good. Things are not good, but at least it's at least different from how it was for the past years. So I don't think this will just work out as how they're demanding, because I really believe that what Sahel leaders are discussing is not what African Union is discussing, because African Union are all the time discussing, giving out best speeches, but nothing is happening. No change is being seen. If they would have been doing something that we are hoping that at least they're doing something that is supposed to be appreciated by Africans because it's bringing some change, then at least There are some countries in Africa today which have been always facing all these crises, challenge of violence, all these wars, terrorism attack, but African Union is there. African Union is an institution which we believe is supposed to be or should be much powerful and able to solve any problem that at least affecting African countries. But why today most of African countries like Sudan, like Congo, and many other countries are still facing challenging problems? Why still we are facing the highest number of refugees in Africa? Why still we are facing the terrorism attacks in Africa? Why we are still facing droughts, hunger, and everything in African countries when we are still we are having this institution as African Union, the most powerful, holding all the 50 African presidents, coming together to discuss, but with nothing as conclusion on how to solve all these problems. This means that this institution is not capable of solving Africans' problem. That's why there are some leaders who are feeling like it's better to be out of this institution and make our own decision, which we believe that is going to help and at least bring something that will be constructive to our countries and bring change that African people deserves. That's why these people decided that it's better we be outside, we be called all these names, but we know that we are fighting for our people, but not for ourselves. So this pressure is coming out unless African Union do what it's supposed to be doing to the people and to the continent. That's when I think there are some people or leaders who are outside can be thinking of going in. Because when they go in, they go back in African Union. It means that they'll have to work under the rules and policies of the Union, but not as how they're doing things on their own and making their own decisions. So it is the time that Africans leaders have to make the decision that they know well. It is for the people, but not for themselves. That was my views and my opinions about what has been said to the Union. For the longest time, African Union has been there, but we've not been able to see how effective it is to the continent, and how it is at least there to make sure that African continent is in safe place. It is doing something to the people, and the people are so appreciative of the Union because it was formed for the interest of the continent. But why the continent is still facing the same challenges that it faced long time ago, even before the initiative of this institution? Let me have you in the comment section. What do you think about this? Which side are you relying? Do you support this African Union, or do you rally with the Sahel leaders with their decisions? Be blessed as we continue discussing on next episode, and be blessed.